Well, hi friends, hi strangers. If you have just stumbled upon this video, welcome. It's the very first ever video on my channel. I can't believe I'm even saying that. But welcome to Duffy Dining. My name is Heidi Duffy, and I'm creating this channel because I like to eat. So my hope for this channel is just that we can start cooking things that maybe we eat at a restaurant and love, and we can have them at home and hopefully love them even more, and that's actually possible. So welcome if you're here. I'm excited. We're gonna do a recipe a week or even more. We'll see how time permits with a full-time job and other things. But anyway, without further ado, let's kick off the very first the very first video of Duffy Dining. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So today we're gonna kick off with something that I like to call a vegetable dal, which if that doesn't really get you super excited, just you wait, because it is out of this world good, and it really doesn't take that many ingredients to taste like you are in Bombay somewhere eating and delving into something that tastes like a super authentic curry, and you can do it at home, and it only takes a couple things. So let's dive into the ingredients really fast. And of course you can kind of substitute things based on dietary needs. I actually came up with this recipe when myself and my husband were testing out kind of a fast slash restrictive diet for like a month. So this is actually dairy free, it's gluten free, and it's actually vegetarian. And if that's making you run for the hills, just pause. I'm none of those things, but this is still amazing, and it's so tasty, it's so good. So let's dive in. So what you're gonna need is you're gonna need a carton of vegetable stock. You can do chicken if you're not vegetarian, if that's not a concern. This in here has, I would say, about 2.5 cups in it. So if you're using a stock cube, something to keep in mind. You're gonna need some coconut milk. No, we're not eating ice cream. I just like to keep these as reusable things. Cilantro, let's talk about it, so good. But anyway, these are a mixed lentil. You can use a yellow lentil, a green lentil, you can use whatever lentil that you're excited about. It's very versatile. You're gonna need an onion, a thing of ginger. If you've never seen ginger before, this is what it looks like. It looks really odd, but it's like the base of a lot of curries. You're gonna need lots of garlic. This is a serrano pepper. If you don't love a lot of heat, you can use half. We're gonna take out the seeds anyway because I can only handle so much myself. Two limes, some cilantro, and then in terms of spices, we're gonna do a crack of black pepper, of course. We've got some curry powder, some garam masala, and some turmeric. And if you've never heard of the garam masala before, it's actually really widely available in most grocery stores, so you should be able to find that. So yeah, let's just dive in. We've got our knife covered here for safety, so let's take that off. I like, when I'm chopping, to have a lot of bowls around to kind of discard some of the items. So what we're gonna do first is I'm gonna chop into this onion and attempt to do it without bawling my eyes out. So we'll see if that's possible. Okay, so now that we've got that, we are going to dive into some of the garlic. We're gonna do 3 cloves. So if you wanna just grab 3 of your cloves, and then you've probably heard this trick before. Oh, it's getting me a little bit now. Anyway, you've probably had this trick before, but what you do is you take the garlic and you smash and you get out some of that onion aggression, and it just kind of helps the outside come off a little bit easier. Not that you know it from what I just showed you, but anyway. So again, that one was better, and it just kind of comes right off like that, so that you're ready to just kind of get straight into the chopping. Okay, so next for the garlic. You want to use about a thumb size of garlic. There goes my apron. And yeah, so thumb size of garlic. So what we're gonna do, this one's kind of an odd shape, but I'm just gonna chop right through it. And there we go. Got my size of a thumb. Now you can take a peeler to this. Some people take the back of a spoon. There's a lot of different ways that people do it, but if I'm in a lazy mood, then I'm kind of just gonna take my knife and run right along the outside of the garlic here. Just right along the side. Try not to waste and be wasteful. And there we go. So I'm gonna discard that. And then what I like to do is do a few thin strips of the garlic. It kind of has a weird texture when you cut it. And then I'll put each strip into a thin strip, and I'll just keep chopping away. Okay, so once you've got the garlic in a nice kind of thin sort of mince, as they say, again, you could definitely use like a rasp or something like that if you have it handy, but this is to kind of just show you that you can absolutely do it with just a knife and a cutting board too. So we're gonna go ahead and add that to our ingredients. So we still have the onions, the garlic, and now we have the ginger mix. And then last but not least, we're gonna go in with one of these bad boys. Now I'm making this for a group of people. And when I make it for a group, I want to be cautious of spice levels. So you're going to see when you cut inside, you've got this. And that's the really spicy bit, is in the sort of the vein, the seeds, the inside part. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run my knife along. I'm going to take that out and put that in the discard. And I'm going to do the same with this side. And that'll just make sure that we're not blowing anybody away with spice, because we don't need that. There we go, nice fine dice. Fine dice. And you can kind of judge at the end there how much you've made. I think we're okay to go for that for my guess, so I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna put these off to the side because I think we have enough there. So perfect. So we have our initial steps for how to get some great flavor in this. And I am going to walk you through the rest of the recipe just now. So next what we're going to do is we are going to take a teaspoon measure. I want to make sure and get measurements for people who would like to measure at home. And I like to kind of pre-mix my spices, that way I have it all ready to go for the next step. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 3 teaspoons of the garam masala that I just have in this jar here. And I like to just take it, make it flat, and in I go with the 3 teaspoons. So we're done with that one, and then we're gonna go in with 2 teaspoons of the curry powder. And again, it just smells so good. Curry powder is like a mix of spices, so already you've got a lot of flavor just packed into that. And then turmeric is actually very strong. So you don't want to add too much. I usually never go over a teaspoon actually of turmeric. So I'm going to do just under a teaspoon of turmeric into this. And then I'm going to go in with the salt. I'm going to pre-mix that as well. And this all depends on if you're using chicken stock, what type of vegetable stock. I'm using just kind of a heaped teaspoon. And I'm going to stir that all together. We've got our mix. So I forgot to mention that I kind of just crack in some pepper. It's not vital that you add a ton, but just a little bit because we've already got some kind of spice in there. So just crack a few cracks of black pepper. Could be like a half a teaspoon worth if you're measuring. So we're gonna do that, and then the last but not least, we're going to take, this is for the very end, we're gonna take our bunch of cilantro. And how I like to do this so that I'm not worrying too much about picking every leaf off is I sort of just run my knife along here and get the leaves off as much as I can without getting too many of the stalks. And if you get some of the stalks, honestly, they really add a lot of flavor anyway. In fact, I'm gonna go in and get the other side now. If you just sort of slowly run your knife down like that, there we go. So now we've got all the cilantro used there. Cilantro smells so good. I know there are those people out there who think cilantro smells like soap, but I love it. So anyway, this is going to just be a garnish that we're going to toss into the dal at the very end. But I'm just going to have it all ready so that all your success is in the prep. Isn't that what they say? So let's just chop into this. So there we go. We've got a nice good chop. And we're ready again for the next step. Okay, so next step, we've got our lentils ready to be washed here. We've got our mixture. We've got our coconut milk ready to go. So what we're gonna do is you really wanna rinse these because sometimes they're still a little bit dirty. So I'm just gonna turn the water on. We can take them off. They've had a good rinse. Just sort of shake it out. I'm gonna leave it right there for when we're ready for the next step. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do now that we've added our olive oil is we're gonna go ahead in with our ginger, garlic, and onion mixture. And we're gonna put that right into the pot. And we're just gonna cook this until it's softened a little bit. You're gonna start to smell just an amazing fragrance from the ginger and the garlic, and some heat from the serrano pepper. And look at that, beautiful. Yeah, so we're just gonna let that cook down for a little bit on a medium, low heat. We don't want anything to get too dark brown, but probably just until it starts to brown for a little bit of that flavor. All right, so once everything's looking softened like this, we're gonna go ahead and go in with our spice mixture, which I've conveniently put in this little red cup here. This is what it looks like with some of that cracked pepper. And we're gonna go ahead and go in with our spices and let those really cook down with the onions, with the spices. All right, so it smells amazing in here. This is when you're gonna start feeling like I am cooking inside of a world-renowned Indian restaurant because it smells so good. You just have to make it to kind of know what those spices smell like. So I've just been stirring for a couple minutes here. The spices are all mixed in with that onion and garlic mixture. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take our lentils here, and I'm just going to head and go right in with them into our mix here. And same thing, before I go ahead and go in with any liquid, I'm gonna let these lentils start to absorb some of those flavors that we've already added. And so I'm gonna go ahead and stir these and let them sit on the heat for a little bit before we go in with the coconut milk and some of the veggie stock. All right, so when the lentils have mixed in and they've had a second to just sit on the heat, we're gonna go ahead and go in with our first liquid, a can of coconut milk. You can use light or just normal like I'm using. And we're just gonna go ahead and stir that right in. Right in with the veggie stock, and just go in with that full carton. Once it's all covered, you're just gonna give it a stir. We're gonna turn up the heat a little bit until it comes to a full boil, and then we're gonna turn this down for roughly 30 minutes while the lentils just soften up and get thick and creamy. Okay, so we're back. It's been a couple minutes now, and I'm just noticing that there's not that much liquid, so that's okay. The wonderful thing about that is I just poured a little bit of water into this and shook it. No need to buy another jar of the veggie stock. Water works great. And I'm just gonna go ahead and add a couple tablespoons more of that. And same thing, I'm just gonna continue to let the heat go as these lentils soften up. Okay, so I made a rookie mistake here, and I put this mixture in the wrong sized pot. So here we are again, round 2. Make sure you definitely have a pot that's tall enough on the sides so that the lentils have room to kind of expand and get big enough. But I want to show you what the mixture looks like after it's been on the stove for about 30 minutes. So you'll see it's got a nice kind of deep shade here. If I stir it, it's very thick and rich and creamy. So we have just a couple more steps here, and then this curry will be totally done. So what we're gonna do is we're going to add in our cilantro mixture. So I'm just gonna toss that right in, all of it. And again, if you're not a big cilantro person, you can absolutely add less. And then I'm gonna take at least a full lime, the juice of a lime, and I'm gonna squeeze that right into the mixture, and it really just brightens all of those flavors together. Again, this is smelling amazing, and we're gonna just go ahead and stir this into the lentil dal. Well, hey guys, we are back with our finished dish. This is so exciting. Steam bath moment. Oh my goodness. We're gonna need to blow on it because it's really hot. Oh my goodness, you guys. That could be sold. It's so good. Feel free to make this at home. I hope you enjoyed this video. Try this dal with some naan or over some basmati rice. You will not regret it. It is so good. You will never believe that it's dairy-free, gluten-free, meat-free, all the frees. It's so good. Anyway, if you like this video, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Ducky Dining.